insurance can be super frustrating with people. One, because it's an expensive thing that you don't use very often. So you're like, what am I getting for it? Right. You're getting peace of mind, but like that's not tangible. So you can't hold it. And people like to hold what they're paying for.
Welcome back to another episode of The Lofty Lender. Today, I am joined by Jacob Stevenson, owner and principal agent of Morningside Insurance Group, a rapidly growing agency he founded in September 2023. Known for its personalized service and client-centered solutions, the agency serves families across Iowa and Nebraska, offering expert guidance in home, auto, and life insurance. Jacob's life focus on clear communication, education, and community values ensures clients feel secure and informed. Before entering the insurance industry, Jacob had a decorated career in collegiate wrestling as Morningside University's first NAIA national champion and a four-time All-American. As a coach, he led Morningside's wrestling program to national prominence. Today, he applies that leadership, discipline, and dedication from his athletic career to building lasting relationships with his clients and driving success of his agency. Welcome to the show, Jake.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Kyle.
So first off, I got to talk about that bio. Wow, congratulations, man. That's awesome. So you were the first champ in NAIA over at Morningside. How did you didn't have anybody that was there doing it in front of you. How did you do that?
Yeah. So my first year at Morningside was the first year that the wrestling program got reinstated. So they cut it back in the mid 70s. So my coach recruited, a group of guys, and we were all freshmen. Which, in the end was kind of a blessing for me. I had, really no distractions because we're all freshmen. We didn't know what college life was like. So I was really blessed in that. I went to class every single day and did homework every single night, which, set a good foundation for my college career. And then I was also blessed with two young coaches that, put a lot into me. They really invested in me. I had success in the first tournament I was in, and I think they were just like, all right, this guy is going to be important for us. So we're going to wrestle with him every day, really invest a ton into him. So that was a huge part of it. And I had great teammates too. I was lucky that, the coach recruited some guys around my weight that also had a lot of success. So, it's just kind of, I got into a great position, had a phenomenal head coach, phenomenal assistant coach that invested a ton. So,
That's
but
awesome.
it was an awesome experience. And I'd never been to Sioux City, Iowa before that. And now I've been in Iowa since.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in a small town in Nebraska called Petersburg. It's about 350 people. So, Sand Hills in Nebraska.
All right, well, my town had about 300 people as well, so I totally understand
Nice.
that.
Yeah, where are you from?
Actually, Letts, Iowa. It's most people call it Leets, Letts. It's kind of weird, but it's out by Muscatine area on the eastern side of the state, over by the river. So then, did you go directly into coaching right after you graduated?
So I did. There was a position, the assistant coach was leaving when I graduated. So it just worked out well that my head coach, hired me as an assistant, and I did that for 3 years. Had a phenomenal 3 years as an assistant. He gave me a ton of, good responsibility, but also a bunch of freedom. So, it was an awesome experience. And then I went into business for a year, kept coaching at a different program during that, but I was working for a company called Sand Creek Post and Beam, which was also a phenomenal experience. I've been super lucky throughout my life, but was owned by a former Nebraska wrestler, and he basically wanted to hire wrestlers. So he hired me with zero experience, and they were on the Inc. 500's top 100 fastest growing businesses the year before I got on. So they were blowing up, a ton of energy, ton of excitement, ton of opportunity within that And so I did that for a year, learned a ton, and, just kind of got that entrepreneur and growth mindset over there because they were just growing like crazy. It was a ton of fun. And then, yeah, my head coach became the athletic director, and so I saw an opportunity to do what I kind of always wanted to do, which was be a college wrestling coach.
That's awesome. So now you got to tell us why you would leave being a head wrestling coach to jumping into insurance, which that you're going from excitement to boring, right? Like, isn't this a fairly boring industry?
Yeah. Well, that is the perception. The big reason was my kids. I was actually in Pella, Iowa, at a tournament down there, and my wife is sending me pictures of my son in his first wrestling tournament. This would have been 4 years ago. So I'm in the corner, looking at this picture, and I'm crying, and I've got a kid coming up to wrestle. And so that was probably the first instance where I was like, I'm not sure I'm going to coach for the rest of my life. And, that just kind of continued to happen and grow. And I have 4 kids. And so, yeah, really that was a huge motivating factor. And I loved having my kids around the wrestling team and the atmosphere because we had phenomenal kids on the team, phenomenal young men that were great mentors and just people to look up to my kids. But, being a college coach, it just takes a ton of time, a lot of weekends, and I was just missing too much of their stuff that every year that I was doing it, I was like, my desire to be here is getting less because of my desire to be over there. So yeah, started to look around maybe, a year or two ago, and, nothing I saw was, really, really fit me. So, yeah, found this, and probably the other aspect was I had an assistant coach that was wanting to be a head coach, and that was like the perfect thing. He wanted to be a head coach. I wanted to get out. I saw an insurance agency that was for sale, met with the owner, and yeah, it all worked out.
That's awesome. So how are you taking the skills then that you gained as a head coach, right? Because now you're leading young men through this journey, and I guess, was there a women's program yet at Morningside? Is there one right now?
Yeah, there is now, but it was just starting when I was leaving. They hired somebody as I was leaving.
So how are you using the skills then of those teaching those young men to now teach people about insurance? I mean, insurance is it's a very high education field, right? You got to educate a lot, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think probably a couple of the things that served me really well in this is the education part, right? Like, I'm a teacher at heart, a coach, and that's really my focus. And that's kind of what I bring here too. It's like, I'd also say the aspect of, when I was coaching, it's all about the process, right? It's about, for me, it wasn't about winning, like our goal was to win every single match and every single duel and to win national titles, but that wasn't the daily focus, right? The daily focus was improve, get better, and let the results kind of fall where they may. And I think that's the same thing I bring to insurance too. It's like, I talk to people, I want to build a relationship, I want to educate, and I want to help them, but it's not about selling, I'm confident that, again, if we work hard enough, we educate, and we just trust the process, then we're going to sell insurance and we're going to be successful. But, we don't start the day saying, hey, I need to make sales. We start the day saying, hey, I need to talk to people, I need to educate them on what insurance is, why they should value it, and why they need it. And then, the sales will happen. And again, that's the same thing. It's like going to practice. We didn't go to practice saying we need to win a match this weekend. We go to practice saying, hey, we got to get better at single legs. We got to be in better position. And then hopefully that translates to winning matches.
Yeah, I mean, and for business wise, you're talking about the activity, right? You got to get better at the activity, and the results just start to happen. Right? You are focusing on all the daily grind, and then you look up and shoot, we're on the top of the leaderboard. Didn't even realize it. We were just grinding. It's great. So, what challenges have you faced in this purchasing the business and going from there?
I mean, the biggest thing was learning, the insurance industry. It is very different than wrestling and coaching. But thankful there's a lot of similarities too. And just, like we have a team here, and that aspect of it, is huge. And the teamwork mindset, we have a constant group chat going. And so we have 11 people in the office, and so it's like we have 11 minds that are working through all these problems. So yeah, I mean, the biggest challenge was when I was new, we had 3 people in the office, and there was one person to go to. She'd been here for 18 years, and so everybody went to her, and I was constantly reading policy documents, trying to bring myself up on exactly what, our products did for people. So I'd say that was the early challenge. But as we've grown, again, it's like you send your problem into a group chat and you have somebody that knows what's going on, So I think those things have gotten a little bit easier as we've gone through. But yeah, that was the biggest one, just getting educated on insurance. And, at first I always thought, I got approached to do an internship with Northwest Mutual, and
who didn't?
And like their thing is like 100 names or something like that, and so that's kind of the mindset I had coming in too, is like I need just be willing to hammer out all my friends and family. And my brother was one of my first sales, so he definitely got hit up. So not that I didn't reach out to friends and family, but I quickly realized there's a lot of people that need insurance. So, I would say that was probably the most enjoyable thing. I thought it was going to be a huge challenge finding customers. But I quickly found, like, one, Allstate's product is great and it fits a ton of people. And 2, there's a lot of people looking for it, so it was really just about getting our name out there, getting in front of people, letting them know that we're offering the opportunity. And then, good things have happened since then.
So what's the most rewarding aspect of your role as an agent, especially when you have to deal or help people with really complex issues?
I think it's two-sided. One, the customer side, right, of helping people through that, educating them and letting them know there is value in what they're paying for, because I know, like, insurance can be super frustrating with people. One, because it's an expensive thing that you don't use very often. So you're like, what am I getting for it, right? You're getting peace of mind, but like that's not tangible. So you can't hold it, and people like to hold what they're paying for. So just educating them and bringing value to what they're paying for. So I think that's super, rewarding. And obviously when they have a claim, working our butt off to get through it, because that's really our role, as an agent. Like in today's day and age, they can get online, they can get the same exact product that we're selling online without talking to anybody, but where we bring value and where we really, feel like we set ourselves apart from even other agencies is when they have an issue, helping them go from I have an issue to the issue is solved and guiding them through that. And so that's super rewarding. And the fact that, we have people that have gone through a claim and they thought it was going to be denied. And once it's all said and done, they were hopefully made whole, and just knowing that we bring that value, I think, is super rewarding in helping somebody go from, just not having the kind of experience they wanted with insurance to, okay, like I know, I wouldn't have been there without my agent. My agent took me to that spot. So that's been super rewarding. So yeah, I mean, the claims part, I've been lucky. I haven't had any huge, like, disastrous claims. It's been pretty small scale compared to what I've heard other agents go through.
You started your career last year. It's early.
Yeah. So, but it's, even, during the floods, right? Like that was a super tough time up here. There's a lot of denials going through, and not that we got everything covered, because floods, aren't covered, but we were able to get people, some type of payment for certain things where we were able to, and just, again, giving them our time and our focus in order to figure out what they would be eligible for, instead of just saying a flat denial. So yeah, we've been blessed to be able to help people out. But then I'd say on the other side, it's super rewarding to have a team and give them a great experience, and when I was coaching wrestling, it was all about culture, and in the insurance industry, to me, it's all about culture. I want a phenomenal culture where people love to work, and because they love working here, they're in a good mood, and they provide great service, and people have a great experience when they're working with my people. So like, that's a huge thing for me, and that's super rewarding. I want everyone to love what they do, and be able to, show people how enjoyable it is to be here by giving them great service. So that's, I would say that's a huge motivation for me, is, give people a great experience. And we have one car salesman. He's like, I love that I don't have to work every Saturday, and he's like, I get to hang out with my family now. And so for me, that's super rewarding. I have somebody that she was in, she'd never been in a salary or commission job. And she's like, yeah, I love this experience, and I've never had anything like this. And another person that was in another insurance, one of my service gals, they told her she wasn't good at what she does. And she has more positive reviews on our Google than anybody else in our agency. And so she is good at what she does. And I can validate that by saying all of our customers love her, So those things are really, I would say that's super rewarding for me. Absolutely. I love giving people those experiences.
Well, this is kind of a tangent thought, but when you first started answering that question, you mentioned that people buy insurance and they don't get anything, right? They don't have a tangible item. So maybe you need to come up with some sort of widget, something to just like give them, be like, hey, this is what you bought. I know it's not much, but this is what you're buying. And obviously it comes with a lot more, but this is a tangible feel that you can hold on to and say, I'm really mad at my insurance agent, I'm going to chuck this across the room. Or, I love my insurance agent, I'm going to build a shrine, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. Like we've really like done an all new onboarding experience, where like we send them a thank you letter, and we send them like a who to call, so they're not just like, oh, I have new insurance, right? It's like it truly is like an experience to have us as your insurance agent. And I hope that's helping, and, hoping they feel value. But like, I also say, like, you don't want to use us at the end of the day. So I get it, like, you don't ever, like, if you could at the end of the day say, I paid into insurance for 80 years and didn't use it once, you're winning, So it's like a tough thing. But I mean, I don't know, keychains maybe.
Hey, I got one. I know what that's like, for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know a lot of wrestlers, so you got to tell me this. So as you get older, I can still shoot hoops pretty easily, but as I get older, my body is starting to deteriorate already. Wrestling, can you continue to just wrestle for fun on the side as you get older? Like, what kind of hobbies do you do now? And is wrestling something? Obviously, you're not that old. Your kids are young. You're going to be wrestling around with them, but is there something else besides wrestling, or is it just wrestling all the time?
Yeah. It is a tough sport to do as you age, and some people do it, but they are not the norm. It's like, because you do, like, I have some serious neck issues. A lot of wrestlers, my coach, actually, the reason he got out of wrestling was neck issues. So I think it's pretty common, like, we use our neck a lot in wrestling. That's why we all have cauliflower ear, because we bang people with our head so much. I tried to start an adult wrestling league. And it was kind of a joke, because it was me and one other guy. We would work out, 3 times a week in the summer and wrestle, because we're like, we love wrestling, but we can't wrestle with young guys because they hurt us. So we're like, a couple old guys are going to get in there. We're going to work out. and it was great. But again, like my back got hurt and I was like, okay, even the two old guys wrestling is dangerous. So yeah, I got to stick to more like cardio, and I shoot hoops with my son. My son's going to be a basketball player, I think. My wife's 6'2". So, they're all kind of the tallest kid in their class, and he weighs, almost nothing. Tallest kid, skinniest kid. So
Yep,
I'm
been
like,
there, done that.
and he loves basketball. So I'm like, I'm excited to watch him. Yeah. So whatever they want to do, honestly, is what I do these days. I try and wrestle with them as much as I can. But it's, wrestling as you get older. I tell my kids, like, I want you to golf in high school because that's something you could actually do for the rest of your life. Where
and you got to
I
learn
was
it,
just banging my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here I am without much to do, and none of those hobbies that I'm good at. But if somebody wanted to wrestle me, I would.
Well, wrapping up the business segment here, what's your long-term goal and aspiration with your career at Allstate and with the agency?
I would say that is evolving because I'm learning more and more about, an agency ownership and what that looks like and what that means. I get into everything with an end goal, and so, my goal when I got into this was to grow the agency and then, sell it to somebody else that was, passionate about it when, I got done. And, I'd say that's still plan A, but I think, plan B for me is probably try and grow people into agency owners, like, again, that kind of comes from my coaching days. I think, like you love seeing somebody go from your program to coaching a program, right? And that's kind of like what I'm getting here too. Like I see the people in my office doing stuff, and I know not everybody wants to be an agency owner, but like I want to give them the opportunity to do that if they want to. So, that's like kind of what I see myself doing is hopefully, just having a tree of, because they call it the coaching tree, right? Iowa football has a huge coaching tree, right? And I'd love to have the same thing here, where it's like people come in, they learn the business, and they go and they start their own, and they can make an impact too. That's just kind of my mindset. And I had somebody tell me too, like if people aren't, and this was a football coach actually, if people aren't coming into your program and leaving, you're not really like doing right by them, right? They should be coming into your program and growing and getting more experience and developing and moving on to something else. If they just stay there all the time, you're probably not giving them what they need. And so just bringing that mindset in here too. Like I want to bring people in. I want them to have a phenomenal experience and say, hey, I want to do that too, and go on and do their own thing.
It's like that old picture of Hayden Fry and Kirk Ferentz. You just go down the list and all those guys are in there.
Yeah.
All those guys ended up going on to be prominent, really good football coaches across the country. And it's just, that picture is insane if you really go through and look at every person in that picture. It's all his assistant coaches at the time that have now taken off. I mean, are you going to be the next Hayden Fry of insurance?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and that's the one I was thinking of. Like, I mean, it's just crazy, what an impact that guy made, right? And that's the dream. And we'll see. I mean, I also try not to, like put what I'm thinking into other people either. I don't want somebody to, that's kind of a place I get sometimes is I'm like, hey, you could do this, go do it, and they maybe don't want to, so I got to be careful with that. So I mean, I always say, I would love it if you stay here for the rest of your life, but it also kind of break my heart, like I don't want this to be your last stop. So, but hopefully we also make a culture where people like, I don't think there's anything better than this.
All right, let's hop into the quick pick segment. So this is going to be a this or that. You tell me the first thing that comes to mind. You can expand upon it if you want, or we'll just hop on to the next one. So first one is kind of getting old school, and maybe you don't even know what these were, but obviously you've got paperless policies now. But did you ever do any traditional paper documents? Do you still enjoy doing those?
Never have. No, no. Yeah, we get I had to have somebody come in and sign something like a week ago, and like our scanner hardly works, so it's like when that has to happen, it's tougher.
Cooking at home or dining out?
Cooking at home.
You a good cook? Your wife a good cook? What do you?
I would say neither one of us are good cooks, but we have 4 kids. There's really not a lot of time where we enjoy being out in a restaurant with those 4 kids. So, it's like usually herding cats or sheep or whatever. I mean, depends on the night, but our kids are all 10 and under too. So it's just, we're not in the eat out stage of life.
You're in the thick of it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Working from home or in a traditional office?
I'm a traditional office guy. I dabble at home, especially when there's a sick kid. Thankful that I can do it. But I enjoy being in the office. I just like the vibe at the office and being around people.
Reading a good book or listening to a podcast?
Oh, both. Yeah. Depends on the time of day. Podcasts get me amped up. Books do too, but I try and read fiction at night to go to bed. So do both.
What's what kind of fiction are we talking about here?
Right now I'm reading Lord of the Rings. I just try and find super long books that seriously can put me to bed. If I could read one thing, it would be just like coaching books and self-help books, like I love those, but then I don't go to sleep. So I read about 15 pages of Lord of the Rings and there I am sleeping.
Giving back to the community or pursuing personal hobbies?
Giving back to the community. I don't have that many hobbies.
Fair. Favorite chain restaurant?
I would say Qdoba, but just like everything else, Chipotle, Qdoba, anything Mexican is probably my favorite chain restaurant.
Dude, Qdoba has the best catering. I don't know if you've ever had Qdoba catering, but it's amazing. I like their catering better than I like their food in the restaurant because you can just eat a little bit of everything. It's amazing.
I'll keep that in mind.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Kind of figured that with college wrestling. Investing in business coaching or relying on past experience?
I would say business coaching. I have a business coach. I don't even call him a business coach. He's more just like a mindset and performance coach that I use and my whole team uses. And really, it's kind of like, I always say the better your wrestler was, the less you had to like tell them what to do. And you just had to ask them questions and let them figure it out for themselves. Right. And that's really what Jordan does for us is he's like, like, why are you afraid to do that? And we work through it, and I think that's where he brings a ton of value to me and my team is just getting us out of our own way, like 90% of the time we know the answer. We just don't want to go do it, so he does a good job of getting us out of our own way.
Sweet treats or savory snacks?
Sweet treats.
You can have sweets? I thought wrestlers weren't allowed to have sweets.
Yeah, that's why we love them so much. And that's the problem. I don't wrestle anymore, but I still have the same sweet tooth.
There you go. Beach vacation or mountain getaway?
Oh, I would say mountain getaway. My wife would say beach, so usually I'm on a beach.
Be wife.
Yeah.
Camping under the stars or a luxurious hotel stay?
I would say camping under the stars all the way.
Nice. Live music or a quiet evening at home?
I haven't been to live music forever, but I would say that's something I would probably enjoy a lot right now.
Because your kids are young and you can't get out of the house.
Yeah, and I just don't. It's hard for me to imagine a quiet night at home too, unless it's 10:30. Then you go quiet.
Adventure travel or relaxing vacations?
Adventure travel.
And I got a lot of vacation questions here. The last one is best vacation you've ever taken.
Geez, that's a tough one. I think we do an annual trip to the Black Hills to ski with my family, with just my kids and stuff. We've been doing it for about 6 years. And I would say like that's the best because it's something we look forward to. And It's just like disconnecting, with my kids.
And they're completely worn out by the end of it. So you actually do get a little bit of quiet. And there might be a little bit of whining, but there's still mostly quietness going on.
Yeah. And they have no Wi-Fi. Like we play cards, board games, we start a fire. Yeah, it's great. And again, it's just the like the tradition part of it, is probably why I value it so much. And yeah, I mean, I look forward to it every year.
Awesome. All right, well, let's get into the final segment here, which is the trending topic. So considering the current trends and challenges facing the insurance industry, what are your predictions for the future of auto insurance premiums in our area? And what steps can Allstate customers take to potentially mitigate premium increases?
Yeah. I mean, they're going to go up. I read a prediction that, increases are going to be 10 to 15% across the industry. So, whether your company goes up 2% or 30%, who knows? But just across the industry, it's going to be 10 to 15 probably next year, which is difficult to hear. But the big thing that everybody's going to, Allstate's doing it. There's probably 3 or 4 companies already like full in on it, is telematics, where they track your driving, and they've been tracking your driving for a while, but now your rating is going to be very, very focused on the telematics, right? So what scares people is it's going to be an up-down rating, right? So you're truly going to be rated on your driving. If you're a horrible driver, your rate's going up. It used to be you just got a discount for it, right? But a lot of companies are going to up-down ratings where you're either going to go up or you're down, which for the good drivers, awesome, right? For the bad drivers, this is not great. But there will be a time when everybody's rated that way. So you kind of got to buy in. I know there's one company, they just struck a deal with Ford where Ford's actually going to just sell them the data from the car. They don't even got to put telematics in it anymore. So like the cars are all going to be that way, where like your insurance is rated off of how your car is driven. You don't have to use your phone or a chip or anything. Cars are just going to have it, and that data is going to get sold to insurance companies, and you're going to be rated appropriately.
So then tell me, I have a chip in my car, Bluetooth, of course, and it says whether or not I'm using my phone, which is I've decided it's based on whether I'm moving my phone. But it feels like, the setup that I have, I wasn't necessarily told like phone usage, what that really means, or because obviously you're using GPS or something like that, you need to have your phone out. Because of the insurance piece, I went ahead and got a thing to stick my phone to, and that way I can have it up there and poke at it, but not necessarily be staring at it, looking at videos or whatever as I'm driving. But then I also see that it says like sharp turn, and I'm a bad sharp turner. What the heck is a bad sharp turner? I thought I drive like a grandpa. How the heck am I a bad sharp turner? I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know what that means either. But I mean, and that's the reality is, like, all these insurance companies are so protective of this technology, right? They don't tell us everything because they're like, that's proprietary, right? And so I know Allstate, they track if you're going over 80, you're hard braking, and a big one is the time of day you're driving. And then the smallest portion of it, they tell us, is phone usage. Like, that's the least impactful, and I still tell people it still impacts you. So you need to know that. But, as long as you're not driving in high risk times, that's the big one. And driving over 80 and then hard braking, those 3 really impact your rate the most. But if you can not do all 4, you'll get the best rate. But yeah, like our app's even tied to our cell phone. So, we kind of have a little bit of a loophole that people use in the fact that you can say my passenger was using my phone. So yeah, we try to educate them on the entire side of it, exactly what it's going to do, how it's going to track you. And some people are just like, I don't want that. I don't want Big Brother, on my phone and whatnot, which, we're like, yeah, we don't disagree with you. We're just trying to, 86% of people that use our app save money. So we're just trying to educate them on that. and you make your own decision. But yeah, and I'm sure it's going to get more and more, right? They're going to say if you shark turn 70% of the time, you're 20% more likely to get in an accident, and that's it's just like they put it into an Excel spreadsheet and kick it out, and then raise your rate or not based on that.
Well, yeah, that's scary.
Yeah.
But maybe so ChatGPT, I just at the time of this recording, I just heard today that ChatGPT and Google Gemini 2 can watch your screen as you are typing or talking about something. So you can be talking to ChatGPT and saying, hey, I'm looking at this spreadsheet. I've got that number in column 3 and I've got that number in column 4. I want you to multiply those numbers and put it all in column 5 for me. And it'll just do all of it for you and take care of it right on your screen. So how long until ChatGPT or AI are with you in the car and reporting what it sees to your insurance agent to say, yes, it was your fault, or no, it wasn't your fault, and here's why, and being able to handle a lot of this stuff? Because I just feel like there has to be some of that has to be coming, and now the fault is really taken out, but the fault is then turned over to AI, which who knows how accurate that is.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I say, like, you don't want this stuff tracking you, but at the same point, like, for me, it's like, I know I'm paying what I should, so like, I like that side of it, and we get so many people that call in that say, like, I haven't had an accident for 10 years. I'm like, I know. And in 5 years, I think that person's going to be a lot happier because they're truly going to be rated on being an awesome driver, and they don't go out when the weather's horrible and go 80. They just say, hey, I'm not driving, the weather's too bad, and they're going to be rated well because of that. So, like, I like the idea of it, just knowing how good of a driver you are, because the people that call in that have 7 accidents, and they're not paying that much more, that frustrates me more than the person that calls in that has none and, their rate goes up, like, you just feel for the people that, it's a group rating. So if your group is not looking good, it hurts you, So I'm just like, I like the idea of it really tracking us and saying, hey, you're a good driver, you're bad. I'm comfortable with them telling me I'm a bad driver, like, I'll take responsibility if that's the truth. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. There is AI, there's quite a few tech companies getting into insurance that are, just rating people way different, and rethinking the way insurance is done, which I think is good. It's going to push the envelope a little bit. But yeah, it's just a different time. Very, very different.
Well, Jake, thanks for joining the show today. It's been a pleasure having you on, getting to know you a little bit, understanding a little bit more about your agency. If anybody wants to get a hold of you to either get a quote or just a little education, how can they do that?
Yeah, the easiest way is just to call or text. We're trying to get on that, technology and be texting. I think insurance agencies are slow to do anything tech savvy, but you can call or text us. Our direct line's 712-454-6599. Again, you can call or text it. And that'll basically get you into our office line, and then an agent will reach out to you on their direct line probably.
Thanks again, Jake. It was great having you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it. Enjoyed doing it.
And we hope you enjoyed the conversation today and found it valuable. Be sure to follow us on social media platforms. Check out our shorts, our clips that are all over TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, everywhere. So check us out, like us. Appreciate you guys. And remember, stay curious, and we'll see you next week on The Lofty Lender.